Hello one all, it's my review of Dr. Stone, Chapter 151, Dr. X. And with the many surprises and shocking moments we had this chapter, probably the biggest one is that beautiful woman we were all talking about last chapter, the one people were theorizing was Senku's mother or his aunt or his long-lost sister. That's a dude named Stanley Snyder. Did not see that coming, though after the author had Jinro dressed as a fairly convincing, beautiful young lady, I shouldn't be too surprised. He clearly has a love for the lady boys. Oh, this was a weird chapter. Even by this series standard, this was an insane chapter. And we start with Kohaku just staring very intently at the leg of the airplane that Senku managed to steal. And I just absolutely love that's what she's calling it. I mean, I feel like at some point Senku would have had to explain the basics of airplanes to these people. At the very least to Chrome, explaining how they worked, how they flew. I mean, they have a hot air balloon. I'm assuming at some point someone had to ask him, so this is how you flew in the old days? And he said, no, you know that car thing we have? We stuck wings on one of them and we managed to fly through the air like a bird. At which point they probably assumed Senku was just messing with them. So yeah, now they have an airplane to dissect, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun for them. Of course, they can never just, stick to the obvious plan. So instead, they decide to send Kohaku, Chrome, and Jen wandering through the woods to try to track down the guy with a giant gun who just tried to kill them. Twice! Oh, poor Jen. Though he quickly realizes that the trail they're following is a bit too easy for someone with this much military training and expertise. And he's in fact being led into a trap. And he's still a little bit salty over his loss to Senku, so he decides, you know what? I need to do this. I need to show my stuff. I need to improve. I need to grow a little bit. So I'm going off my own to infiltrate this group and hopefully find a way to take control for the A-team back at home. Which, weirdly enough, is exactly what he was doing when he first met Senku, infiltrating the Kingdom of Science to find information that can be used against them. So yeah, he's exactly back where he started, even leaving a trail of flowers for them to follow. And when faced with good old Stanley, which I just freaking love having American names in this series. I mean, there's Kohaku, Jen, Taiju, Tsukasa, Hyoga. I mean, all these names I really have to struggle to remember. This dude's name is Stanley. That is not a name I'm going to forget anytime soon. And a name that I don't have to worry about mispronouncing. I seriously don't know if I'm pronouncing any of the other names in the series correctly, so big apologies if I'm mispronouncing any of those. Stanley, I'm fairly certain I'm saying that correctly. Anyway, then Jen introduces himself as a magician. Oh, which I just absolutely love. I mean, later on he says, it's probably best if I don't tell them I'm a mentalist who's good at manipulating people. That might come back to bite me in the butt. But he's also, world famous to a certain extent. He wrote several books. I'm guessing they weren't as popular outside of Japan, but I still feel like someone might recognize him. Also do love Stanley's line here. I can tell I'm paying you down. He got strong hands and not much else, which, fair enough, All the magic tricks he does are with his hands. Making flowers appear suddenly or doing card tricks. Those require a lot of dexterity and strength in your hands. It's often underestimated. Never challenge a magician to a thumb wrestling competition. I learned that the hard way. I would say that this person is so little of a threat that Stanley will have no issue dragging him back to his base so they can interrogate him there. And our first shot of the enemy base is just freaking beautiful. I mean, we don't see very much of what they actually have built. It's very blurry there, but we had this amazing lake view, perfect for fishing. We see a little fishing boat with a guy on it. Fields and fields of corn. It all looks spectacular. We also have what appears to be a woman on a tractor, like a full-on tractor, not something they just put together, but that really truly looks like a tractor that you'd see nowadays. And cows. They have cows somehow. I mean, I don't think cows can survive in the wild by themselves, can they? That's very, very strange. And also, just given the number of people we're seeing here, the number of people required to make something this large, I'm going to assume that they have the secret vial fluid for themselves. Also, the corn kind of confirms that, because Senku even said the corn tastes absolutely completely horrible, but it creates a crazy amount of alcohol, so that's probably why they're growing it like that. We also see the base, the main building they have, there's a bunch of buildings behind them we don't really see all that well. You can only see it in the one shot where it's all very blurry, but yeah, this base is something else. It honestly looks like it was designed by a group of children, and yet still looks intimidating and terrifying, and I can't even begin to fathom how long it would take to build this thing. Built the base of it, and they just kind of started expanding out from there, and then just kept adding on more and more. I mean, it looks like it might have started off as like a mine almost, like they were mining through the rocks around it, and then they eventually decided to build a wall there, and I guess maybe like there was a mini city in there, and then they built bigger cities from there, and then decided to keep expanding and growing. I don't know. This is a very, very strange looking building, and I would like just entire chapters explaining all of its purpose, how it came about, how it was built like this. Also, there's giant rocks all around the entryway. I'm curious if that's like an aesthetic choice or if it's meant to bar the door in case of emergencies. That would make a lot of sense, given they'd be barring it from the outside, so it would be easier. I mean, make more sense if those were on the inside, so that no one could break free, but I don't know, that's just very, very strange. Jen also has to comment about how there's a factory there, which I have some theories on. I'm going to get to that later. Anyway, then we meet Dr. X, or Dr. Zeno, a truly professional scientist, just like Senku, but with way more experience, and a very terrifying crack mark all along his face. Anyway, then they hook up Jen to a polygraph exam to try to figure out if he's telling the truth, which is an absolute and complete insult to a mentalist like him. And Dr. X certainly seems bipolar. I mean, first thing he does is stick him in a polygraph, and then he gets very terrifyingly close as he puts his very rugged arm against his neck. And then when he finds out he's from Japan, he gets all excited. Japan, did you hear that, Stan? Oh god, they call him Stan, I love it. How wonderful! His group braved the stone world so very far, like an eastern bearing Columbus. I'm very confused about Dr. X. I don't know if I'm supposed to like him, I'm supposed to hate him, I don't know if he's going to be a villain, I don't know if he's going to be a hero. I mean, there's certainly a debate in community, like people are saying, oh, look at the things on his fingers, he's probably going to go with the Abaru, he's probably going to be some monster. Others saying, no, he's a fellow scientist. Senku and him are going to get along great. They're going to be best friends. Or maybe rivals like that. That could be really cool. I'm personally of the opinion that it's going to turn out that Dr. X is involved with something evil. I can certainly see it being revealed next chapter, one after, that he's using like slave labor, people with no rights or freedom that he's essentially torturing to grow and produce and make things as good as they are now. I mean, America was kind of built on slavery, unfortunately. So it would make a certain amount of sense if he's using it here and now to rebuild society, essentially. I mean, if that's the case, I can definitely see it being a battle where Senku has to defeat him, take over his kingdom, and essentially free all his slaves and say, hey, I'm still going to ask you to do work. You don't have to do it, but if you don't do it, you're only going to get this low-quality food. If you do it, you're going to get gator burgers and milkshakes and Coca-Cola and all that stuff you missed from the old age. We'll see about that. But if it does turn out that Dr. X is a good guy, I'm a little worried about Jen's lie here about, oh dear, it's nothing but hellish labor in the kingdom of science. Our leader is the worst of all, a real taskmaster. That's why I fled, if you must know. Because then that could cause issues where they can't become friends because they think that Senku is evil. So that does kind of lead me to think that maybe Dr. X is the real evil person here somehow, some way. Slave labor, inhuman experiments, something like that. And Dr. X certainly does come off terrifying here, where he either says, Jen is either honest to a fault or the world's greatest liar. So yeah, even he saw through Jen's manipulations, just like Senku did way back when. It's not a problem though, because I love both types. So either way, he's going to make the most out of Jen's abilities, and that's going to be utterly, utterly terrifying. But then when asked for the name of this person, the name of the scientist they need to take out in order to conquer the kingdom, in order to take control. Oh god, Jen says the name of the greatest scientist, the genius, is Dr. Taiju. Oh, that is going to get very strange very fast. I heard a theory online that Senku's gonna build him an earpiece so he can talk through Taiju to trick and manipulate Dr. X into thinking that he actually isn't an idiot. Oh, but this is gonna be so bizarre. Like, at some point, Stanley's gonna show up and say, Dr. Taiju, I've come here to kill you. Everyone just kind of looks back and forth like, what's this crazy guy talking about? Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be very, very fun. I mean, despite Taiju being an idiot, it does make a certain amount of sense. He's, the one who's willing to take a hit for Senku. He's the one who isn't likely to die from literally anything. I mean, even that time he was punched by Tsukasa, the world's greatest boxer, and was then said that he wouldn't be able to move for a week because of all the internal damage from it. He got up like 10 seconds after that. I was immediately ready to go for a very long walk. So yeah, I'm not too worried about him dying from this, but I mean, you couldn't have said Hyoga was the scientist. He's certainly not as strong or durable as Taiju, but he is very fast and good at dodging enemy attacks, and I wouldn't feel too bad if he died. Just saying. So yeah, very, very strange chapter, and hopefully next one we find a little bit more about Dr. X. I mean, it's clear that he's been building up this kingdom of science, the American version at least, for quite a while. There's been some debate online whether or not he's more advanced than Senku is. I'm going to say this castle he has is not something Senku could have built with his current manpower and technology. I mean, yes, the ship they have is very advanced, it's huge, but this is just, next level, and certainly requires, I think, more people and manpower than Senku currently has. So I'm just going to say his kingdom's more advanced for now. Maybe as we learn more about it, we see what it's capable of, I'll change my opinion, but right now, Americans for the win. Sorry. But let me think of all this down below. What do you think of Dr. X? Do you think he's someone Senku's going to have to defeat and overpower and take over from because he has slaves or is involved in human experimentations or does something crazy and evil? I could see that happening. Or do you think these two are going to become like best friends and rivals moving forward? I'm really not sure which it is. I mean, like I said, Dr. X keeps going from looking crazy evil to looking amused. And honestly, his expressions, I mean, even the expression here where he says he likes both type of people, I feel like I've seen Senku make a very similar face at a few points in the series. And I argued this in the comment section last chapter, that basically everyone in the Kingdom of Science could be a villain in their own series. But because they're all working towards the same goal, saving humanity, they've managed to be classified as the good guys, kinda. So it's gonna be curious to see how Dr. X falls in on all this. But yeah, leave a comment down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video. Until then,
peace.